Blessings. This is Morning Thoughts with Teresa Bean. Humans were created by God to be obedient. All evidence of human behavior for all time proves this. God sets up authorities for mankind, and mankind sets up authorities for themselves. Authority is a self-evident truth, and authority is natural law. And for humans, it has always been a negative thing for people to rebel against legitimate authority. And any exception proves the rule. I would like to use two examples to prove this theory. In America, from the time we are babies, we are bombarded by two contradicting ideas that we are slavishly submissive to. America encourages us to be independent thinkers. Be yourself, we're told. Be who you truly are. And we all accept this as correct without even thinking about it, and we try to do just that. We try to find out how we're unique and different from others. But then our culture also tells us to be utterly like everyone else. And again, without even thinking about it, we fall in line. Let's begin with the last example of how we are obedient to our culture by explaining how we are subjected to the culture's dictators. Some fashion dictators decide the new look and trot skinny fashion models out, and we run to the mall and pay to try to look like them. And we offer up to the fashion gods our hard-earned money to purchase off the rack. And the manufacturers duplicate clothing so that nobody can look unique. Actually, nobody looks really rich or poor. You can't tell if someone's male or female. The young and old all kind of wear the same type of clothing. Everyone looks alike. They tell us beauty is long hair, and so we all wear our hair long. Then they command us to wear makeup, and we wear makeup. If a business or school wants their members to wear uniforms, inevitably, the side that protests that uniforms stifle creativity and individual freedom will also be the ones who conform to the fashions of the day. In fact, the other day, a perfume saleswoman tried to get me to purchase a certain perfume, and her pitch was that this particular scent was the most popular and everyone was wearing it. Now, I thought, why on earth would I want to smell like everyone else? So I asked that to this sales lady, and she said, no, that's the sales pitch that works with people. Because everybody wants to wear what everyone else. They want to be like everybody. So they all bend to the fashion gods. We go to the crowded restaurants. We watch the television shows the cool people watch. We listen to popular music that the cool people are listening to. And the cool people are inevitably entertainers, or people we know who are acting like or looking like the entertainers we see on television. And while the conservative media will argue that it's because that is what sells, that the poor, ultra-rich, and powerful media gods tell us that they are at the mercy of what the people will buy. That is an utterly fictitious argument. The capitalist merry-go-round is fueled by a culture that, without our consent, brainwashes us from the time we're toddlers, shaping our opinions, desires, thoughts. Then they pat us on the back, telling us how cool and creative and independent we are for choosing what they're selling. That's not free market. That is obedience. And we love being slaves to Hollywood and the media gods because they tell us we will be happy being enslaved to their rules. And when, after a few years of submission, and we find we're fat, promiscuous, addicted, in debt, and miserable, instead of rebelling against the cultural gods, we plunge ourselves more into these things because we are obedient humans, and we trust Hollywood and the media, no matter what we say to others. And if we're not made to bow at the altar of Hollywood's seduction, then our culture will shame us into compliance. Our culture, and by that I mean not only the gods of Hollywood and television, but doctors, scientists, teachers, all those that we trust in authority who put pressure on us to conform to the culture. Think about the PC culture. We all change our verbiage in order not to offend anyone because we're obedient, even if no one is actually really offended by what we say. What is true and real doesn't actually matter. We are bullied into being mindlessly subservient because we are scolded and we naturally obey. And this isn't new. Totalitarianism is based on the fact that it is human nature to obey. And totalitarianism has always been there at the infrastructure of many nations, including our own. And demons know that humans want to be liked and part of a group, especially the cool group. So we all, like the good little human servants that we are created to be, bow and do exactly as required. So we are obedient to the cultural gods. But the opposing idea that is displayed in almost all television shows and modern books is that man's most fundamental longing, mankind's deepest cry of our soul, is for freedom, which may be technically true, but absolutely not in the way that we've been brainwashed into thinking. Whenever you watch a movie, think about what Hollywood is trying to say to us, trying to convince us of. From Mel Gibson's iconic cry of freedom in Braveheart to Disney's Little Mermaid trying to break free from her father's authoritarianism. This idea that we want above all to be free underlies the vast majority of films and is the motivation behind the vast majority of who we consider our heroes. But please, read history from the primary sources. The people who lived in the past and their writings are not full of this yearning for freedom. They might be wanting justice from their authorities. They may be wanting a better authority, but they were not wanting freedom from all authority. Of their own free will, men make social contracts in order to prosper. And wherever there is a social contract, there must be an authority to enforce it. It is only later modern commentaries that impose on the past this great yearning of the human spirit to break free and be independent from all authority. It is even the myth that our founding fathers came to America to cast off all authority and live independently. That is just not true. The Pilgrims came to America not to cast off authoritarianism, but to create a new one in which they were in charge. Most of these early settlers formed very authoritarian governments where they had control over what people wore, ate, and even their religious beliefs. The concept of each man being able to listen to his own conscience and act independently of all authority would only later come with the Enlightenment philosophers. And this incessant bombardment of freedom from all authority is a cry constructed by the devil, heard daily, hourly around the world by the media. I know something that Americans will hate to hear, but they need to really think about this because it's true. God made us to love being obedient. Most children desire to listen to and please their parents and want an authority in their mothers and fathers. Until kids go to school and are convinced that parents are uncool and too authoritarian, kids want to accept their parents' authority if they feel loved at home. It's not that children want no parents. Children want good parents, and we're all like that. But because we have been convinced that we should never trust authority, Americans are walking zombies, mumbling that they are free as they willingly submit to the cultural gods. So to sum up, our culture programs us to be obedient to a couple of things. We are told to be our unique selves, color outside the lines, don't worry about fitting into the norms of religion, of Western philosophy, or binary sexual identity. Go against all the traditional norms and demand to be yourself. But that same culture that tells you to march to your own drummer is the exact one that entices or pressures you or even shames you into thinking and acting just exactly how they want you to. It's okay to color outside of the traditional lines, but the new cultural lines act as guillotines, and the devil knows that humans will obey them. For it is a lot easier for humans to obey in a group of obedient people. That is why the road to hell is paved and wide, because people go to hell in groups. It is our nature to follow the leader. So we are all lying to ourselves when we are programmed to think we want freedom from all authority. We don't. No one actually lives like that. What we really want, way more than freedom, is to be obedient to the right authority. We want to bow down, to serve a God that is good and those that He has put in charge, like our parents. That is the most natural and innate desire of the human soul. If you don't believe that, then you have been indoctrinated into the devil's lies. We are happiest when we are obedient, but not to the wrong authorities, like the media, but to the correct authority. What we want is freedom from false authority. We don't want liberty to do anything we want. Deep down inside, at the core of our souls, we want the liberty to know who is the right authority and follow it. Who in today's world is shockingly courageous enough to authentically think outside the box and reject opinions of the crowds? Who has the guts to reject the pablum and insufferable ideas the culture demands we desire? Who is so heroic in spirit that they will speak, think, and act independently from the dictatorship of the media gods? It's not who you think. It's not those storming the streets fighting for their rights. It's not those who demand we all conform to their nice opinions. It is those who dare to obey God. Morning Thoughts has been brought to you by Sunbeam Productions. That is SONBEEM Productions.com. And have a terrific day.